I started learning Mandarin about 5 years ago, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've outputted. I've outputted once through speaking and probably 3 or 4 times through writing. The point is, I'm a lot more focused on my input than output because I believe that it's a lot harder to get good at listening and reading. And once you do get good at listening and reading, then it's easy for your speaking and your writing skills to catch up. So I'm a very input based person, and also I'm just not the type of person to actually go outside and touch grass and talk to other people because I'm just kind of an introvert, and I prefer to, I guess, really learn languages through input instead of output. And given that I haven't outputted, I really don't know what since I've outputted only a couple times, I have a very limited ability about how much progress I've actually made. But I think it's time that I probably should start outputting. So there's this website called LangCorrect.com where you can wait a minute, make sure this is the right screen. Yeah. So this website called LangCorrect.com where you can write text and native speakers can correct it. So this is one of my entries that I did a little over a week ago. I was talking about the law of attraction, and I saw a video on this, and I wanted to do a topic. I wanted to do a writing entry on it, so I wrote some stuff on it, and the corrections really shocked me. So if this is a native Chinese speaker, if you look at the first one doesn't count, but the first 5 sentences, all correct. That just shocked me. Like, how is my output really this good in terms of my grammar and my vocabulary with basically no output already? I thought this is maybe a fluke. So if you go to another one, the exact same thing. The native Chinese speaker says, well, this one is the title, but the first 5 sentences are perfectly grammatically correct, and I've barely outputted at all. So maybe my output skills or my writing skills are already pretty good. So maybe I should start outputting. Now I should be transparent about the way I wrote this. So there's this channel called, I'll talk about this later, called Mr. and Mrs. Gao, talking about the law of attraction. They do videos on a wide range of topics. Again, I'll talk about this in a little bit. But since I did a video on this, I just thought I would write an entry on this topic. So what I did was, since my active vocabulary is absolute garbage, I had to look up a couple words. So for example, I think I actually had to look up, make sure I was getting all the correct characters for law of attraction. And then I actually had to search up using this Mandarin to English dictionary. Oh, how do you say topic again? Because I couldn't even remember how you say a topic. Of course, it's huati. And then another thing, let's see, I think I put, yeah, so I put gravity right here. Actually, no, this is physics. So I had to look up, wait, how do you, I think I put in the correct characters. I wrote the correct characters the first time, but I was just a little bit hesitant on whether I got the correct definition for physics. Then for gravity, I also had to search this word up with the English to Mandarin dictionary, because I knew it was something like xi li, as in like xi qu, that sort of xi. But no, it's actually zhong li for gravity. And I think those were the only words that I actually had to look up on the spot. So it's not like I wrote this completely not having looked up anything in the dictionary, but like 95% of it, it's all coming from me. And the output is pretty good because I think that a lot of my audio sentence cards that I did really stuck inside my head. So I think this is a bullet point that I'll talk about, which is the audio sentence cards. So I think in April of 2023, I made a video describing my sentence mining scripts, where I created this series. How do I even describe it? I created this interface in order to make it easier to sentence mine things with any sentence or any audio or a video. So I've been using this on a lot of TV shows, also with some podcasts as well. And I just do this for a lot of cards. And these audio sentence cards really stick inside your head. Sometimes when I'm walking around outside or not thinking about the language, I'll have these sentences just go through my head. And even sometimes when I'm reading and I come across a certain word, or if I come across the same word that I've seen in my audio sentence card, or that I've listened to in my audio sentence card, then I can kind of play it back in my head and I'll know instantly what it is because I remember the specific scene or the topic that vocabulary word was used in. So whenever I see a word used in one of my audio sentence cards, I instantly know what it is and I know the tones and everything. It's so clear versus like my other vocabulary cards. So that's why I think that these audio sentence cards are so powerful. And that's actually how I think that's how my grammar got pretty good because I could play back like these sentences in my head and know the structure. Like for example, 恰恰相反. If you look this one up, by the way, my Anki streak is still going great. 1,370 days. If you're wondering what all this stuff is, I'll be getting to that in a later video. But anyway, if you search up, this is so laggy because I'm running so much stuff right now. But this word, I was trying to express this concept, but I remembered that word. Wait, no, this is the wrong deck. I have two decks. I have the vocabulary deck, which I'll get to in a little bit. And then I have my sentences deck. Sentences deck contains the audio sentence cards. Vocabulary is just normal vocabulary. So in here, I remembered the specific card that I made a while ago that had this this card. Let me make sure that you can actually hear this. Enable desktop audio. So this is the card.
但恰恰相反，跑步时的每一公里对我来说都是一种煎熬。
I think it's just finished. I don't have my headphones in. But basically, I remember this sentence. There, now you can see it. I remember this sentence from a while ago. I made this card 6 months ago. It has an 8-month interval. I remembered this card, and I used this exact same structure in my writing entry right here because I remembered it that well. Let's see. Another thing was 脱单. So this card, I remembered, or this specific vocabulary word, I remembered from a long time ago. There was a card I made probably, this one. So I made this card, over 1.5 years ago? And it has a 1.4 year interval. Let me make sure I can, see, I don't have my headphones in, so I don't know if it's going to play. Yeah, so this card was made for Scissor 7, and it had this word, 脱单, and I remember that word from this card and used it in, this right here. So it really goes to show that the audio really sticks inside your head, and they're very powerful cards compared to other vocabulary cards. As one of my final examples, so this structure of 有, 组成, there's a specific word, or there's a specific sentence from a while ago. This one, also taken from Scissor 7. This one right here doesn't have a picture, unfortunately, but yeah, same structure, 有, 组成. I remember that structure, and I used it in my where was it? I just lost my spot. Am I going insane? Oh, right here. So, and this is after this is not at all looking at my cards. I just remember it, and I used it in the sentence. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but the point is, these audio sentence cards are so powerful that I can play back. I feel like I can play back the audio in my head whenever I want. And whenever I see a new word, or whenever I see a word that was used in the audio sentence card, I can play it back. So I think these cards are really powerful. And I think maybe that's how my grammar got this good already. It's because of these cards. So yeah, it might be time to start outputting if I've already gotten this good. Another thing is my idioms. So there's I don't know if I've ever shared the link to this, but there's this um, monolingual idiom deck that was on Anki. I do 3 every single day, and it consists of cards like these. So if I sort these by, I don't know, like this, these are just an example of common. Wait, I don't think you can see that. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So that's an example of cards of these types of cards. I think this deck is about, what, 5,700 cards big? Let's see. Yeah, 5,700. And I'm just doing 3 a day, so of course it's gonna take me a while to get through these. But they're very useful cards since they're monolingual. I made the monolingual transition about a year ago, and whenever I learn a new word, if I don't understand the monolingual definition, then I'll look it up in my Mandarin to English dictionary, the MDGB one. And sorry, yeah, I'm started using vertical tabs now. I know I'm a monster, but yeah, these idioms or these idiom cards are very useful because sometimes even when I'm reading something, I'll come across one of the idioms, and Anki tells you that whether a card is a duplicate or not. So when I try to enter in that vocabulary word into my my vocabulary deck, it'll say this card is duplicated. It's somewhere else. So I'll just go in here and then set the placement. I guess the placement of it to the first one so that it's I guess earlier in the list so that I can view it right away. So this deck is very useful. Another thing, let's see. Yes, so my vocabulary deck, the one that I accidentally went to before. So this one is, I do a maximum of 10 vocabulary cards a day. I don't do 10 vocabulary cards a day, or I don't learn 10 new vocabulary cards a day. I should learn every day, but when I do make new cards, it's a maximum of 10. I've learned my lesson from overloading myself with all these Anki cards in the past, so I'm not gonna trying to take it a little bit light this time. Gone are the days of me doing like 20 and 30 new vocabulary words a day. So for this deck, I made the monolingual transition, I think also a year ago. And this deck primarily consists of words that I come across when I'm either reading Zhihu. Zhihu is like the Chinese version of Reddit or Quora. And also when I'm sentence mining Netflix shows, I put those words in here. So if you sort these, there's a lot of suspended ones as well, but basically, actually let's do it this way. So my general card type is that you have the card, or you have the word here. And actually, I don't think I've talked about this, but I started learning words in simplified instead of traditional. I used to do traditional, but it was just getting kind of annoying when I was on Zhihu, which is like the Chinese version of Reddit or Quora. When I was copying and pasting those cards into Anki cards, I would always have to like convert it into traditional, I'd always have to convert those simplified characters into traditional characters. And it was just getting so annoying that I just started doing simplified characters. I can read both fine, but I guess simplified is a little bit easier to work with. So I have the word on the front, then I have the monolingual definition on the back, and this definition is taken from Baidu, which is, I guess, the Chinese version of Google. I have the pinyin, like 99% of the time I have the pinyin. For some cards, like this one, I don't put the pinyin because it's obvious. But below the pinyin, I have the context in which I found it. So this was a post asking this question, and I put dots to signify that this is a comment to that post. And then this right here is it's this word, but I bolded it to make it easier for me to find. And that's basically how my cards are all set up. Same structure. Again, putting, I guess, dots signify a comment, and then a comment responding to that comment. Because it's really important to know how a word was used, not just knowing it out of context is kind of useless. You have to know how it's used. So that's kind of the way that I create my cards. And by the way, like cards like these, this one, this one, this one. You got to learn these words sometime. I don't think I'm a creep. Yeah, that's basically what I do for my vocabulary cards. And next we have, I guess, the big change. When I went monolingual, I started using Baidu instead of the MDBG one. So if you search up this term, for example, the MDBG one isn't really that good in terms of parsing, or maybe it's, I guess, it doesn't have a large enough vocabulary. Let me make sure that I'm on the right screen. Yes, I am. So if I search up this term, look, nothing comes up. It's just different terms, or different, it doesn't really recognize the entire term, it just splits it up. So you have to, I guess, figure that out on your own. And that's why I don't like this dictionary exactly. It is good for English definitions, but if you want a monolingual definition, or if you want a more accurate version of the Chinese language, this isn't the dictionary. So compared to this dictionary, if you use Baidu, you immediately see 是什么意思, and then you can immediately see, I guess, the entire definition, because it's like the main thing. So that's one of the biggest advantages of having gone monolingual and using all these using this dictionary, is because words that I searched up before, maybe it was a real word, but I never would have known using this dictionary. But using the monolingual dictionary gives you a better representation of the entire language, because words are just not going to show up in this one. So let's see, another thing. Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit in the earlier in this video, but one of the channels that's been really helpful is Mr. and Mrs. Gao. This channel talks about, I guess he talks about a very wide range of topics, and the stock footage used on this channel also helps with understanding the content, as well as Mrs. Gao asking questions. So this channel, I think I can watch like most of the videos on here and understand the concepts behind it. Of course, one of these was law of attraction. This is probably a couple years ago, but the video was posted a couple years ago, but I watched that video of the law of attraction, and then I posted about it on here. So yeah, this channel has been very helpful for, I guess, getting a better, getting my vocabulary better and things like that. A TV show that I'm watching right now is Wow, Your Little Temper. So this one is actually kind of funny, but I've been watching this over the past month. I wish in my ideal world I would watch this every single day, but maybe I have this personal flaw where I try to do something every single day, but I can never end up doing it. I can understand, I'm on episode 5 of this right now, and I can understand everything, well, not everything, but I can understand the general plot of, if you watch, she ends up getting slandered because the school has some giant ceremony of like some anniversary, but there's like paint on the display, or paint on the wall, and everyone thinks it's her. A lot of drama there, but yeah, I think I understand a lot of the plot. And there's no well, I'm watching this through Nvidius, which is like a YouTube front end, but there's no English subtitles. It's just Mandarin subtitles. So I'm understanding a lot of this show, and it's proving to be very useful in terms of my learning. I think the final thing I wanted to talk about is, it signed me out. Or it didn't sign me out. It just, yeah. It went back to the home screen, but there's a show called God Troubles Me. And this show is basically, I don't like how Netflix autoplays this. But anyway, this show goes over a lot of things in Chinese culture. Basically, this anime is actually not even that funny. It's not entertaining at all. And I would say that it's only going to be interesting. I guess I can go back to my main webcam now. But this anime is not even funny unless you're a native Chinese speaker, because there's so many references in here to things in Chinese culture, and like very, very specific things that if you're watching it only with English subtitles, you're never gonna really understand why something is funny. I even like I've watched 2 seasons of Bleach with Japanese audio, so I've seen some of the like that show is entertaining, but this one is just not very entertaining. Maybe it's just the references that go over your head when you're not a native Chinese speaker, and I've had to do so much digging of why a term is funny, and yeah, this show is not funny. I would not really watch it in my free time, but in terms of learning more about Chinese culture and understanding the lore, I guess the show is pretty useful. So I guess that's most of everything I want to talk about. I guess my output skills are better than what I originally thought. I mean, when you don't speak at all, I'm not even looking at the camera. I keep forgetting I'm on my main screen. When you don't output at all, you don't realize, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't realize that you're, what am I even trying to say here? I guess what I'm trying to say is it's time to start outputting for like seriously. Maybe not in terms of speaking, but in terms of writing. I think my vocabulary is probably not that good, but I guess my grammar is a lot better than I thought. And yeah, there's still so much more to be learned with this language. I still wouldn't even call myself fluent yet. I know what being fluent in Spanish is like, where I can basically watch anything and understand it. But with this language, sometimes I look at a post on Weibo and I have no idea what it says. So yeah, I should always be skeptical of anyone who says that their Mandarin is good. If someone says that their Mandarin is good, then either they're 1 month into learning and know nothing, or they're 10 years in and could pass for a native speaker. So yeah, I'm halfway there at 5 years. But yeah, I still wouldn't call myself fluent at all, because there's so much content that I don't know. Maybe that's just the Dunning-Kruger effect, but there's still so much more I have to go, and I couldn't truthfully call myself fluent, not just yet. I still have a lot more grinding to do, and I'm thinking about maybe learning a new language. I was thinking about after my Spanish C2 test, maybe I was going to pick up another language, but well, since I failed it, I'm definitely not. I'm going to still work on my Spanish. But for this language, Mandarin, might have been a blessing in disguise that I failed my Spanish C2 test, because if I passed it, I was going to plan on learning a new language. But since I didn't, I guess I'll put a lot more effort into Mandarin and getting actually good at this language, because, well, so hard to say you're good at this language because there's always so much that you don't know. I think that's it for this video. Oh, by the way, I finally fixed the lighting in this room. So I can control the lights up here with an app on my phone. And there's this, I guess if you think of light in terms of like the color, as in like warm colors versus cool colors, I always had that light on cool colors. And I thought that would make like my entire appearance be look cooler. But it turns out that the white balance of this camera was compensating for it. So it was actually making everything warm. So what I actually had to do was make the lights warm. Then the white balance of this camera made me not look like a tomato. So it's kind of a shame that the previous videos in this room the lighting was so bad. But it is what it is. That's pretty much all I had to say. Next video, we'll be covering, well, 99% chance will be video on Anki. Probably not going to be an interview, but yeah. Next video I upload will be going over what all of these decks are for. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Wait, you can't even see that. Right, this. Next video, we'll go over what all of these decks are for. These 3 ones at the bottom. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say really. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.